Good morning to you, Senator. Thank you for joining us. Alex Hawke is yet to make his decision. Now there's revelations that potentially Novak Djokovic lied on his border force declaration. Do you think he should be sent back to Serbia?
Well, I think the rules should be applied as they would be to anybody else. I'm not myself familiar with how mistakes or lies on entry forms have been dealt with in the past, but I'd hope that the same rules would apply to Novak as anyone else. Sure, he's not the first person to have made a mistake or lied. I suppose there needs to be inquiries on exactly what happened here. I read through the transcript of the interview that was conducted with Novak at 1 a.m. in the morning, went through to about 6 or so in the morning. And I did actually find him fairly reasonable and forthcoming. I'm not a big Novak fan, I must say myself, but under the circumstances, I think he seemed to try and help as much as he could. So I presume the same sort of inquiries need to be made here of how this happened. I do think we've got to be careful. I don't want to revert Australia into an officious bureaucratic state where any one of us who makes an honest mistake on a government form is hauled off to jail for it. That's not, I think, the country we live in. So let's just see what happened here. As I say, the rules should be applied to Novak as anybody else.
How would you describe the handling of the Novak Djokovic saga? Was this more a political move by the government, a stance against allowing those who are unvaccinated into this country than anything else?
Well, I can't read the minds of others who make decisions, what have you. Obviously, the circumstances around it all have not been ideal. It's never ideal when the government loses in court, or in the end didn't. I think withdrew its case, withdrew its defence. But I do think this highlights how the rules are the problem here. Yes, the rules should be applied equally to all once those rules are set. But from time to time, we need to look at our rules, especially rules like around COVID vaccination status, which are only just recently introduced ones. And it's been clear for a long time that if you've had COVID, if you've got natural immunity, you have a better protection against getting and spreading COVID than if you've had a vaccine. That's all the science. So why aren't our entry rules aligned with the science? Now, this is not just a situation for Novak, and honestly, Novak's big enough. He can look after himself. But what I'm concerned about now is for your average Australian men and women, many of whom now have contracted coronavirus. How are they going to be treated going forward under these rules when they want to go and leave and come back to Australia? I think we should have rules based on the science. And if you've got natural immunity, that should be recognised in our entry requirements to Australia.
Well, I guess we don't know how long that natural immunity could last for. Up until yesterday, it was still being debated by a number of epidemiologists.
Well,
that's very true. I want to ask you before we let you go, though, about this ongoing supply chain crisis. A number of agricultural groups believe that the situation will worsen as COVID spreads into the regions. How concerned are you for harvests in Queensland?
Look, I think this is the real issue we should be focusing on. Hopefully there's less commentary on a tennis player and more commentary on what we do to make sure our economy, our health system, our food supply is maintained through coronavirus spreads. We do need more sensible rules around isolation. It's good to see that's coming into effect. So more people should be allowed to go back to work and keep our supermarket shelves stocked. Hopefully maybe keep KFC open, keep popcorn chicken rolling, all those things that we need to have. We don't really need popcorn chicken, but we do need to make sure that we have a functioning economy to supply people with essential items. And that's where I'd also add to this mix here. If it's safe now for close contacts to go back to work, why is it unsafe in some states for unvaccinated people not to work? That is ridiculous. We should end all of these vaccine mandates, which have done nothing to stop the spread of coronavirus, but are just putting extra stress on our food supply system, on our health system, totally unnecessarily.
National Senator Matt Canavan, we do have to leave it there. Thank you for joining us this morning.